The multi-million-dollar mansions in the Pinecrest gated community could easily claim to have the best view in the entire world. The exclusive community is located high in the mountains of Colorado, only connected to the rest of the world by a single road that's all but impassable 4 months out of the year. The owners of the houses treat their estates like summer homes, only returning for the perfect weather that characterizes Colorado summers. That's why I'm here. I live here all winter, making sure that no houses are broken into or damaged by the elements. It's a lonely job, but the pay is almost obscenely high. I'm only just now beginning to understand why they paid me so much. I revved my snowmobile up the mountainside. Today, I would be inspecting the Hardy house. Their estate was a little further up the mountainside, which meant that I would be exposed to the bitter wind for longer. It cut through my thick coat and gloves like razor blades as I carved up through the snow. I reached the front of the house and paused for a moment. It was built to resemble an old colonial-era estate. I shook my head as I walked forward. Well, maybe it didn't just resemble a colonial estate. Maybe Mr. Hardy had paid to ship an original from out east, brick by brick. I stuck my key into the lock and twisted. The door slid open easily. I stepped into the entryway, looking up at the inside of the house. The roof was somehow higher than I had expected. It looked to be 30 or 40 feet high, a dozen feet taller than the roof that I had seen outside the house. It made me wonder if there was some kind of optical illusion that he had paid an extravagant sum for. Technically, I was just supposed to check the entryway, but I let my curiosity get the better of me and I stepped into a nearby hallway where I saw a portrait of a ship hanging next to the door. The hallway extended for a short distance before turning left. I followed it to the left, surprised to see it turn left again. I wasn't sure why they would have 2 entrances to the main foyer. I followed this new turn to see that the hallway extended forward before turning left yet again. I picked up my pace and followed it, turning left another 5 times while never seeing a place that I had already been. I stopped myself as a wet wheezing sound came from around the next left turn, and it was followed by a heavy footstep. Another footstep, sounding slightly wet and squishy. Another one. A wave of, was that garlic mixed with chlorine? Whatever it was, it washed over me. I decided that I had seen enough of the Hardy estate and I turned back around. I ran, turning right and right until I reached the sailboat painting next to the door that I had first entered. I grabbed the handle and I pushed the door open. I stepped into a massive dining room. I pulled back confused. I had only ever turned right. I had never even opened a door. I recognized the painting next to me. This was definitely the same door that I had used. Wheezing, I turned around, staring at where the hallway had turned left. I didn't want to meet whatever was making that sound. I turned and ran through the dining room, passing a 20-person table that took up most of the space. I reached a door at the other end of the room and pushed it open. I found myself in a study. Stained wood covered the walls surrounding a desk of mahogany. Loose bits of paper and other knickknacks were scattered across the surface of the desk. But there was just one problem. The entire room was on its side. I stood on the wall, my feet scuffing up the wood paneling. I looked around the room, trying to take in what was happening. Another wheeze broke my concentration, and so I looked for a way out instead. Another door sat beside a large, sideways bookcase along the wall in front of me. I ran for the bookcase, pulling out books so that I could use the empty space as handholds and footholds. I released the books and they fell sideways, onto the ground. The smell of garlic and chlorine flooded my nostrils. I scrambled up the bookcase and reached the door, flipped it open and crawled through it sideways. It deposited me in yet another hallway. I got to my feet and turned around. The door that I had just crawled through was sideways. I turned and took off down the hallway, trying to get as much distance between myself and that thing as possible. I ran until I got tired, and then I walked, and then I ran again. I spent the next few hours like that, passing through room after room, only rarely seeing the same place twice. I got sleepy then, believe it or not. I hadn't seen any bedrooms, so I settled for the next best thing. I found a bathtub with a massive tub, which I then filled with a dozen thick, expensive towels that I found in a linen closet. I was still cold, tired, and hungry, but I was relatively comfortable for the night. I spent the next day trying to figure out some rhyme or reason to the house and its doors. The door handles of the house were almost all lever-style handles, and I soon discovered that raising the handle up took you to a different room than pushing it down. I wanted to go back and try lifting the handle of the door by the painting of the ship, but I had no idea where it was. After another several hours of trying, I set up another bathtub with towels to fall asleep. I awoke to the sound of scratching at the door to the bathroom. I sat up with a jolt, looking for another door that I could run through. I was in the bathroom though, so of course, there was no other door. I lay down in the tub, watching the door as the scratching continued. I still had my flashlight, which I carried for my inspections. I could use it as a club as a last resort. I tensed up, reaching for it where it lay on the ground beside the tub. The handle slowly turned and the door pushed open. A dog walked into the room, an Australian shepherd with its tail wagging merrily. It walked up to me and I tentatively scratched its head. It jumped into the tub, a wide floppy grin on its face. "Nice to see something that doesn't smell like an Olive Garden," I said. I checked its collar. "Sky." "Well, Sky, I could use your help in getting out of here," I said. Sky responded by rolling onto her belly for more scratches. Somehow, though, I got the feeling that she actually understood me. With everything else that had happened, I don't think I'd be surprised if she started talking. We left the bathroom a few minutes later. Sky led the way, using her nose to push handles up and down. She had been leading me for around 10 minutes when a door had opened up from behind us. Wheezing. Those heavy wood footsteps came from the doorway. It sounded like somebody stepping in a rotting animal carcass. Sky immediately ran down the hallway with her teeth bared. She barked and growled in a way that was somehow both furious and intelligent. I had never seen anything like it from a dog before. The door slowly shut. Sky turned and trotted back towards me, leading me through 3 more doors. The last one opened up to the entryway, with the overly tall ceilings. I knelt down and scratched her until she seemed dissatisfied. I walked up to the front door and pushed it open, getting blasted with a wave of ice-cold wind. I never thought that it would feel so good. I looked back at the entryway to see Sky slipping back through a door. I shut the front door behind me and locked it with a key, and reminded myself to bring some steak the next time that I visited the house.